morning. It's Monday, October 3rd, and today I want to get away from all of the major events that are going on in the world. And I want to talk a little bit about sports. Just baseball, really. Baseball in particular. And, of course, I want to talk about Aaron Judge and his home run season. And I want to make some comparisons and tell you some of my opinions about this whole thing. Now, I grew up in the Bronx. And when I was a young kid actually, I would get like $50 on a Sunday, and I was able to walk from my house to Yankee Stadium. And I was able to sit in the bleachers and watch a doubleheader for a quarter. That's what admission was in those days. And I'm talking about the late 40s, like 47, 48, something like that. And then I had 25 cents to buy popcorn or whatever else I felt like buying. Maybe a hot dog, which might have been a dime. I don't remember all those figures particularly well. But I've been a Yankee fan all my life. And so this chase for this home run record, I feel good about that. But I think that people don't understand what a great season really is. Because in my mind, Babe Ruth's season of 1927 was a great season. Greater than Maris's 1961 and greater than Judge's 2022. And I'll tell you why. He hit 60 home runs, but he batted .356. Right? He scored 158 runs. Judge is not going to score anywhere near that. Neither did Maris. Maris didn't score anywhere near that either. Babe Ruth had 192 hits that season. Now, 200 hits is considered a great season. He had 192 hits. He had 29 doubles and 8 triples. Now, Judge has 28 two-baggers, but he has 0 triples, and Maris only had 16 two-baggers. So Babe Ruth was a much better hitter than Maris, and probably a better hitter than Judge, but Judge hasn't finished his career yet. And Judge is batting over 300, and Maris batted .269. Now, let me tell you what was good about Maris and what Ruth had that Judge doesn't have. Ruth had Lou Gehrig batting behind him, and Gehrig in 1927, right? In 584 at-bats, that's more at-bats than Ruth had, right? He had 218 hits. He had 52 doubles and 18 triples, right? He had a better season maybe even than Ruth, but Ruth hit 60 home runs. Gehrig batted .373 that year, and his on-base percentage was .474, but Babe Ruth had a slightly higher on-base percentage of .486. Now, I'm probably boring you with all these numbers, but the numbers show that Ruth and Gehrig's season, slugging averages and everything, are higher than Maris and Judge's by almost 100 points, by more than 100. So what I'm telling you here is that home runs is not everything. And here's an incredible statistic. Right now, Judge has more intentional bases on balls than any of these great hitters. And I'm including Mantle and Gehrig and Ruth in that category. Maris had 0 intentional bases on balls during his season, 1961. Because he had Mantle batting behind him. And Mantle got 9 intentional bases on balls. Judge has 19 already and the season's not over. And Ruth in 1927 only walked 3 times intentional, right? So there's a major difference in the way the game is played right now. And you want to talk about strikeouts? Judge has struck out twice as often as any of these other 2 guys. Except Mantle. Mantle had 112 strikeouts in 1961. But Maris only struck out 67 times. And that's a big deal. And hit by pitch. Ruth never was hit by a pitch. Mantle wasn't hit by a pitch. Gehrig got hit 3 times in 1927. Now, I'll tell you one thing where Judge is doing better than all these sluggers in stolen bases. He has stolen more bases than any of these great hitters. But overall, when I look at the stats, you can see that Ruth's season is a better season than Judge's season, and a better season than Maris's season. And I'm not so sure that it's as better than Lou Gehrig's 1927 season, because Gehrig batted .373 and had 218 hits. That's a great season. Mantle had a good season in 1961. Might have been considered better overall season. He batted .317. He had 54 homers that year. So I think that home runs get a lot more credit than they deserve, possibly, although it's wonderful to watch people try and hit one out. It's great when they hit one out. It's very exciting. But I think that the overall view that people are taking of these monumental home run seasons is a distortion in how to qualify the value of the season. And that's probably the way it is in many cases in our lives. We look at certain things a certain way and we think they're great or they're not so great, but we really haven't done all our homework. And I'm sure if I went out and looked at other ball players' seasons, I might say that the season that Ruth had, the season that Judge is having, the season that Mantle had, Gehrig seasons, they might not be as great as, say, a season that Ty Cobb had, or Tris Speaker, or any of those old-timers, you know. But the game has changed dramatically. And the one thing that Judge doesn't have, that Maris and Ruth had, is Judge doesn't have a great ball player hitting behind him. Ruth had Gehrig and Maris had Mantle. Who does Judge have? Zilch. Now Maris won 2 MVPs in 60 and 61. And Judge will win an MVP this year. And he also might win a triple crown, which would raise the value of his season in my mind. He's having a great season, but does it compare to these other seasons? I'm not so sure. I let you make up your own mind on that. And I hope Judge does get his triple crown. So I leave you with those thoughts today, and I hope you enjoyed my dissertation on what makes a great baseball season. Bye.